8. Unfortunately, President was not present here, so I'd like to make remarks. And we do value the TICAD process. And I'd like to express gratitude for the warm welcome from the people of Tunisia. Also, like to express gratitude to the government of Tunisia as well as the government of Japan. It's really regrettable that Morocco isn't participating in TICAD 8. Morocco is a very important country. As AU, for this issue, we need to have a perpetual solution based on the agreement amongst AU. Peace and stability is a prerequisite or essential factor for peace and development of our country. Our country has very rich natural resource, and we have potential to become a really prosperous country. However, there is a multifaceted issues like terrorism or the piracy issues or there are also internal conflicts and organized criminal issues are also causing trouble to our country. And TICAD 8 has always been, TICAD 8 is always important for us. With a pragmatic collaboration, we'll be able to solve the problem that Africa is facing. And with the spirit of solidarity, we have to work together to address current issue in a harmonized manner so that African countries can prosper and make progress going forward and achieve our goal. There are many problems. For example, the security issue, piracy issue, maritime issues, they are threatening our lives and hindering our development. Equatorial Guinea. Next is Victoria.
Almost 30 years have elapsed since the launching of TICAD in 1993. This is an auspicious time to undertake a comprehensive and objective appraisal of the progress achieved on the basis of the following 2 points, 2 key pillars. 1, the extent of TICAD's contribution to tackling Africa's development challenges, and 2, its enhancement of African ownership within the framework of international partnership. This assessment is critical as we ponder how to move forward to expand our shared values and common objectives and bolster our future progress. Globally, the defining features of the past 30 years have been the following: gross violation of international law and the trampling of national independence and sovereignty, exploitation of the resources of developing nations, unfair distribution of income and wealth, prevalence of military interventions and illicit unilateral sanctions, rise in terrorism, crisis, corruption, displacement, and organized human trafficking, and the paralysis and marginalization of international and regional organizations. Our continent, Africa, has remained the primary victim of these perilous policies. Its people continue to be portrayed as the poster children of poverty, hunger, interminable crises, and pandemics. These days, it is presented as if Africa is immersed in intractable hunger because of its inaccessibility to Ukrainian wheat. In the prevailing unfavorable international climate, global agendas are certainly exacerbating Africa's precarious reality. Still, we can deny that ultimately responsibility for this sad state of affairs rests on Africa's soldiers. Excellencies, our TCAT forum needs to earnestly review the current precarious realities within the framework of the values and the objectives we jointly cherish. Beyond the political goodwill and financial pledges, we must chart out impacting and measurable programs in infrastructure, energy, water, agriculture, industry, appropriate modalities in trade and investment, as well.
Merci beaucoup, Monsieur le représentant de l'Érythrée.
Thank you very much. This was from Eritrea, then Egypt, and then South Africa. In that order, please.
Thank you, Excellency.
So South Africa.
Excellency, we have become complicit in our own inadequacies as Africa. And the reason for the lack of stability and peace is linked to our failures. We sell off our wealth without benefit to our nations. We do not invest in innovation, science, and research. We neglect our higher education institutions where we should be generating knowledge to develop our resources. And we should be drawing through TICAD on Japan's success in science and innovation to train 1 million African PhDs and produce generators of knowledge for Africa as part of the partnership with the great innovating nation, Japan. We also allow external forces to enjoy the freedom to wreck our continent. They plunder our resources, they control our governments, and we allow them to do this ruin to Africa. Our ability to respond effectively and to create conditions for peace and stability will lie in the degree to which we accept that we as Africans must become self-reliant and that we should utilize partnerships for genuine collaboration which results in African development. We have peace and security structures within our African Union. They should be resourced, they should be given the requisite capacity so that we as Africans take care of our own security. As African governments, we must promote and practice genuine freedom, democracy, and inclusion because this will result in peace and development for all Africans. It is only when we control our resources and our destiny and when our public institutions serve our citizens, when there's true freedom and democracy, it is at that time that we shall enjoy peace and security. I thank you, Your Excellency.
Merci beaucoup. Merci pour la concision du discours et la.
Thank you very much. Now, we're to hear from the Foreign Minister of Gabon. Thank you very much. President of Tunisia, Prime Minister Kishida. I'd like to convey a message from our President. Thank you very much for the invitation to the TICAD 8. I'll be talking on behalf of the President. President of Tunisia, President of Senegal, President AU, and the Chair of the AUC, ladies and gentlemen, with the ticket 8, we're able to discuss very important issues. Our country's economic development is a challenging one. Africa is faced by diverse challenges. Peace and stability are under threat. And we're also experiencing conflict transcending national boundaries. There are also piracy. And unemployment of young people is a big issue. And there is inaccessibility to a basic service. And Gabon is facing those issues. We have to immediately take measures against those issues. For us, peace and stability of the society is a very important issue for the country. Without peace and stability, development is not possible. What I'd like to say is the following. At the 50th session of the African Development Bank, the creation of a common market was proposed for Africa. Soon, there will be a common market. There will be a common framework. Peace is a precondition for the economic development. To see economic prosper, peace has to be achieved. Now, how can peace be achieved in Africa? In Gabon, the global approach is to be taken. First, there will be measures against poverty. There will be improvement measures for economic system. And at the same time, we are contributing to the peacekeeping operation by the United Nations. Globally, peace is important. And for AU, peace is the most important issue. Thank you very much.
The greetings could be omitted. You can go direct into your discussion without going through the greetings. Next, Nigeria. それではご挨拶はさせていただいたということで。
On behalf of Mohamed Buhari, President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, he planned to be here, but due to an unforeseen development, could no longer come. We'd like to thank, of course, the government and the people of Tunisia for the excellent hospitality extended to us. Your Excellencies, we extend our sincere condolences to the government and people of Japan on the passing of the former Prime Minister Shinzo Abe also, and wish a quick recovery to the Prime Minister Kishida. Your Excellencies, this conference offers us in Africa another opportunity to rub minds with our brothers and sisters from Japan, and also to share experiences on a number of common issues that affect our continent. Over the past few years, we have witnessed a number of events that have affected the peace and stability of our various continents, in particular Africa. These events include the climate change and global warming, which led to the shrinking of lakes and waters, including the Lake Chad. Rising water levels in some areas resulted in displacement of whole communities from their natural abode, compounding, as it were, the humanitarian crisis on the continent. The global COVID pandemic also exposed the vulnerability of our health systems and rapid response systems. And of course, the conflict between Russia and Ukraine has weakened and continues to threaten world food security. As if all that were not enough, Africa is confronted with violent extremist and terrorist attacks in all the regions of the continent. This is further exacerbated by the rise of unconstitutional changes of governments in some parts of the continent. Thus, the development and growth of the African continent is increasingly being seriously challenged by insecurity. In Nigeria, for instance, the activities of terrorists, bandits, and kidnappers have led to the displacement of several communities, disrupting the productive activities of our people. Undoubtedly, peace and development are two sides of the same coin. Peace is needed to engender development and provide the necessary infrastructural requirements for our countries. In other words, strengthening peace and stability is a prerequisite for development. It is in this regard that I wish to use this opportunity to appreciate the efforts of the Japanese and other partners in supporting ongoing efforts aimed at improving maritime and border security. Your Excellencies, Africa needs to pave the way for lasting peace and stability on the entire continent. To achieve this, there's an urgent need to upscale our peace and security architecture more than ever. The African peace and security architecture needs all the support it can attract from our development partners, including Japan. The various security mechanisms supported by the African Union, such as the Multinational Joint Task Force, the G5 Sahel, and the African Standby Force, all need to be recalibrated to meet the current objective of definitively eliminating violent extremism, terrorism, and banditry from the continent. And it's our desire that this 8th TICAD Summit will rise to the occasion by expanding the security cooperation and operations between Africa and Japan within the framework of the new approach for peace and stability. Thank you.
Merci beaucoup, Monsieur le ministre des Affaires étrangères du Nigeria.
Thank you very much.
Excellencies, the co-chairs of this summit, President Macky Sall, chair of the session, Excellencies and heads of delegation. I bring you warm and fraternal greetings from His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, President of the Republic of Ghana. He was looking forward to joining you here in person, but he's had to change his plans due to an unexpected development. Excellencies, I'm honored to read his statement, and I quote, "The impacts of the COVID-19 pandemic, climate change, and conflicts have revealed the urgency of fashioning out new development models of international cooperation, which are capable of ensuring resilience and sustainable development. Building sustainable peace and stability in Africa requires transformative policies and actions for an Africa beyond aid. It requires that we create inclusive growth that ensures employment for our populations, especially for women and youth. And it requires economies that respond adequately to the basic needs and well-being of the citizenry. As we face these challenges, Africa, which is now the epicenter of terrorism, is confronted by the greatest challenge of funding across the peace continuum. Of the terrorist-related fatalities in 2021, close to half occurred in Africa, with millions displaced across the continent. The estimated economic cost of terrorist attacks is enormous, confirming that inaction undermines our efforts to achieve the Sustainable Development Goals. African countries have assumed responsibility to build strong and resilient economies. Achieving this objective in the wake of COVID-19 and the supply chain and financial shocks, as well as fighting terrorism, means Africa has to surmount the largest regional financing gap in history. This requires not handouts from partners, but partnerships that facilitate access by the private sector to international financial markets to fund high-impact projects that transform our economies and facilitate resilient societies. In that regard, I take this opportunity to thank Japan for its approach to funding high-impact quality infrastructure projects. We call on Japan as part of the TICAD partnerships to advocate with the rest of the development partners to support a new development cooperation model that responds to Africa's ambitions. As I end, I'd like to thank the government and people of Tunisia for the warm reception accorded my delegation. I would also like to express appreciation to the governments of Tunisia and Japan for organizing the 8th session of the Tokyo International Conference on African Development. I thank you for your attention. Unquote.
Thank you, Madame Minister. Merci beaucoup. Je donne la...
Thank you very much. Nigeria, please. Nigeria, please. It's a great honor to be able to make remarks at TICAD 8. On behalf of our president, I'll give remarks. I'd like to express gratitude to the people and government of Tunisia. Thank you very much for welcoming us at this beautiful city of Tunis. We've been discussing economy, society, peace and stability with great opportunity. We have Agenda 2063, and peace of Africa and peace of Sahel are included in Agenda 2063. And there is a threat of the terrorism, danger of climate change, and we are still suffering from COVID-19. From several years ago, we've been facing some challenges, safety of people and other aspects. And also, there is an issue with regards to the access to the basic services. And safety are not being able to secured in different parts of the country, which is giving negative impact on society and economy. Fundamental solutions are being considered for different social and economic problems, and 67% of the budget is used for safety. And there are many displaced people, and for that purpose, normal life are not being enjoyed by many people. And we are working on resuming the schools, and we are extending a hand so that people can resume normal lives. And we are enjoying support from Japan and other partners. We are enhancing partnership. Peace is a common wealth for humanity. And in order to protect peace, all parties have to cooperate with each other. And terrorism are being exported to different regions. So international solidarity is required more than ever in countering terrorism. And there is this issue with regards to Ukraine. And UN is condemning Russia. There also a issue of the Palestine, and we also have to deal with climate change issue. And we're also working hard to achieve SDGs. Thank you very much.
Next, Guinea-Bissau, and then Ethiopia. Thank you.
Senhores chefes de Estado, chefes de governo, chefes de delegação, distintos convidados.
Excellencies, all protocols observed. In the name of the President, on behalf of the President, let me say a few words. Africa, this region, is faced with huge challenges. The issue of safety. The reason is, without peace, we cannot achieve sustainable growth. In our continent, especially in the Western African region, there is a big threat. We are threatened by international crime. Many people are entering into the region as refugees. In order to resolve a big political crisis, responses will have to be taken. From 2020 to 2024, we have been taking countermeasures. It is difficult to resolve the issue because terrorism on the continent is expanding. And therefore, to resolve the problem, the task is greater. And another issue is climate change and flooding. Flooding was caused through climate change, and food prices are going up. And also on the international markets, prices are rising, and therefore there is a food crisis threatening our livelihoods. The people are going hungry in our countries. The basic needs are not accessible today. In order to stabilize our countries, we need to stabilize the entire continent. We need to create a more resilient society. Even with a lot of funding, we need to put such funding to good use. We need to really have a good idea of where to allocate the resources. In TICAD 8, great cooperation is being offered. We are being asked to work together. We can broaden our horizon in agriculture, health, and education. But we also need to improve the livelihoods of people. Guinea-Bissau is accepting a lot of assistance from the international community. But we need to elevate the living standards of the people in our country. This is a new hope for Africa. We want to create a better Africa together with Japan. Thank you.
De Guinée-Bissau.
Then Ethiopia and Chad and Libya. Then Libya, if you could start, please.
Thank you, person, for giving me the floor. I will not take much of your time. There is just one point that should feature when we discuss about peace and security in our continent, and that's financing African Union peace support operations. In a partnership platform like TICAD, and with a great partnership like Japan, we should be able to discuss about financing AU peace support operations through assessed UN contributions. That shouldn't be just left aside. An important member of the UN, Japan, and Africa should cooperate on this matter. I thank you, Mr. Chairman, for giving me the floor.
Merci beaucoup, Monsieur le représentant de l'Éthiopie.
Thank you very much. That was Ethiopia. Right now, hear from Minister Lusa Batraki from Chad. Thank you very much for the opportunity to make remarks. We failed to raise hand because we thought that we are automatically included in the list. Thank you very much for giving me the opportunity. Now, Chad, we lost president in a tragic manner, and we are now in a transition period. Government in 2022, there was a negotiation or discussion between government and the military, and to have a transparent and democratic election was discussed, and it is to take place. It is being planned. And 9.9 billion of the funding is needed. Out of that, 500 million has been prepared. And we do not want to fail effective transition. And at this ticket, I'd like to ask partners to collaborate with Chad. Without peace and stability, we will not be able to enjoy development. Now with climate change, our crises are becoming even worse. Chad is facing many different specific problems. Boko Haram is in the surrounding area, and in Sahel, there is a different armed groups, and there are 1 million people displaced. And Japanese Prime Minister made an announcement about 30 billion in financing support for Africa. Thank you very much for that. And I'd like to invite investment from investors in Japan. $23 million hectares of the land is available for agriculture, but out of that, only 3 million is actually being utilized for production. And there is a 100 million of livestock. So there is a great opportunity for investment in our country. And the South-South collaboration and the support from Japan are what we are expecting. Thank you very much.
Next. To Libya. Vice Minister Markit.
معالي السيد فخامة الرئيس قيس سعيد رئيس الجمهورية التونسية.
President Said of Tunisia, President Sall of Senegal, Prime Minister Kishida of Japan, who is attending the conference online, on behalf of the President, I would like to give my remarks. Your discussions and the importance of cooperation I will make sure that I will convey those comments and inputs to our President. In various areas of cooperation with Japan, in this conference, we have engaged in discussion in Libya. In this unstable situation, we would like to ask for assistance given to Libya for development and stability. We ask for assistance to be provided, and our neighbor Tunisia, we want to thank Tunisia for cooperation with Libya. We're neighbors, and AU-led Reconciliation Commission's efforts are also to be recognized and thanked. Interference from outside into Libya, we want to limit that so that we can carve out a prosperous future for us. Thank you very much.
À présent, mesdames et messieurs, nous sommes arrivés au terme des interventions des délégations. Je vais demander à la régie de nous projeter la déclaration du Premier ministre Kishida Fumio sur...
May I now ask Prime Minister Kishida for the wrap-up remarks for peace and stability, and then move to closing session. Sorry, the video sound is not connected to the interpreter's booths. So can I ask the engineer to connect the video sound to the interpreter's booth?
Bon, s'il y a des difficultés, nous pourrons revenir.
There seems to be a technical problem. So for the message from Prime Minister, perhaps we could introduce later.
Non, Monsieur du Japon, qui prend le relais pour la cérémonie de clôture.
Thank you, Your Excellency, President. Now, we move on to the closing session. I would like to invite the Prime Minister Kishida for his closing remarks.
I am Kishida Fumio, Prime Minister of Japan. To realize a society where African society can live in peace, there are many challenges to be overcome, but peaceful and stable Africa, we are committed to work together. Peaceful and stable society and sustainable society can only be realized with the rule of law. So from that perspective, Japan has provided cooperation to maintain and strengthen the rule of law through training for police officers and border control assistance, and will further work on institution building and the strengthening of governance in the judicial and administrative fields. Against this background, Japan will vigorously support Africa's own efforts to return to constitutional order and consolidated democracy. Specifically, we will focus on supporting the implementation of fair and transparent elections.
確保に向けた支援などを重点的に展開していきます。この関係では特に
In this context, it is particularly urgent to address the deteriorating humanitarian situation in the Horn of Africa, including the increasing number of displaced persons and food shortages. In addition,
with a view to helping to stabilize the region and consolidate democracy, Japan has decided to appoint an ambassador, special envoy for the Horn of Africa. We will be engaged in robust discussions with the leaders of each country and respond swiftly to the complex challenges facing the region. We highly appreciate Africa's own efforts for mediation and conflict prevention led by the AU, ECOWAS, and others, such as the missions deployed in countries facing destabilized situations and the support provided to the authorities in transition. Japan has also supported capacity the building in Africa and the efforts of regional organizations for peace the building. In order to prevent future conflicts, it is important to address cross-border issues. In this regard, Japan is providing approximately $8.3 million in assistance to the residents of the Liptako-Goma region to help stabilize the Sahel region. At the same time, mutual understanding and cooperation between residents and local governments at the community level are the cornerstone of peace and stability. Japan will implement initiatives to improve administrative services for 5 million residents and contribute to enhancing community infrastructure. The United Nations also plays an important role in achieving peace and stability in Africa and the international community. In order for the UN to effectively work for peace and stability while taking into account the voices of Africa, there is an urgent need to strengthen the functions of the UN as a whole, including through Security Council reform. Japan will strengthen its partnership with African countries. Japan reiterates its determination to redress the historical injustice against Africa not being represented through the existence of a permanent member of the UN Security Council, and to share responsibility for maintaining international peace and security. With the UN now facing a moment of truth as a non-permanent member of the United Nations Security Council since next year, Japan will fulfill its responsibilities while listening to the voice of Africa. Creating an environment in which the people of Africa can live in peace and security is essential for the further growth of Africa. Japan will continue to work hand in hand with the people of Africa to achieve peace and stability in Africa and in the international community.
Thank you very much. Now, many of you already have noticed that was the message for the peace and stability session from the Prime Minister Kishida. Thank you for your understanding. So now we finally move on to the closing session. So now I would like to invite the Prime Minister Kishida for his closing remarks. So Prime Minister Kishida. So please wait for a second for clearing the technical problems. Oh, yeah. So thank you, his President, Mr. President, thank you for your understanding. So that changing the order, now my honor to invite His Excellency Mr. Sall, President of the Republic of Senegal, to provide his remarks. Thank you, Mr. President.
Merci beaucoup, Monsieur le...
Thank you very much, Minister Hayashi. Yes, there has been a technical glitch. So, let me deliver my closing remarks. His Excellency, President Said of Republic of Tunisia, His Excellency Kishida Fumio, Prime Minister of Japan, distinguished guests, as well as the chair of the AU Commission. And also, I would like to thank all of you for the kind participation. I would like to express my appreciation to President Said of Tunisia and also the people of Tunisia for the very warm hospitality and also hosting successfully the TICAD 8. Prime Minister Kishida has made further commitment to Africa, and we are indeed grateful. We have continued to cooperate for 29 years. The African Union, the World Bank Group, and UNDP, and the government of Japan have been working closely for TICAD, a peace and security, a resilient society, and for the prosperity of Africa. These are the tenets of TICAD, as well as mentioned in the Tunis Declaration and in the document updating the Yokohama Action Plan. Energy transition must be done in a fair and equitable manner. Digital transformation for youth and women needs to be empowered, and to be able to be active as entrepreneurs, we need to further industrialize. We are right now in a very deep crisis. We need to urgently tackle various issues for the international institutions. We would request for the special drawing rights to be reallocated in certain cases. For the DSSI, the debt service to be made more sustainable. And I would like to thank for the grace periods being provided. But we need to immediately take actions. We need appropriate policies and measures. We need to have private sector mobilized and participate. And if I could put forward our requests, investment, there must be vamped up, and we need to have a fund to encourage startups. Long live Japan and long live TICAD.
President Sall, thank you very much. Still, the staffers are working on technical problems, so may I ask His Excellency, the President Said, President of the Republic of Tunisia, to have give a floor, to have a closing remarks. So, thank you very much. So please, His Excellency, you have a floor.
شكرا لكم.
Thank you very much, Excellencies. We have been discussing a wide range of problems. I'm glad that we are able to discuss solutions I'd like to express my gratitude to everybody who participated. I'd also like to express my gratitude to those friends in Japan. Thank you very much for considering collaboration with us, having new image about the future. Through a variety of discussions, we discussed new approaches. Maybe we have different ideas, but I do believe that we were able to come to a consensus. I believe we found answers to many difficult problems. TICAD 8 is not the end of the process. There will be I believe there will be a continuation of the TICAD process. And I hope that the international station is to become better than today. In addition to have the sense of gratitude, I also like to congratulate all involved. I do believe that we are seeing the success. At the end of the closing session, it was not that we were able to discuss all the problems. There are remaining issues need to be discussed. For example, humanitarian issues. Humanitarian issue is also seen in many places in the world. And what is important for me is that economic aspect and humanitarian aspect are to be looked at together. We have to have a holistic approach. We have to look issues from different aspects. By having that kind of multifaceted perspective, we will be able to come up with a comprehensive perspective. In order to achieve humanitarian safety for people, human resource development is essential. Nurturing people is essential for human security. And so education is needed. Countries in the world has to provide education because it's people's right. Equitable education is needed to be achieved. That would have been an important discussion point. Another thing I wanted to have deeper discussion is about debt. There are many treaties or agreements. By debt being accumulated, there will be increased burden on different countries and regions. So the new approach on this matter is also needed. For the continent of Africa, there are many of the assets that has been stolen away or looted. there have been many of the assets that have been looted, and Africa needs to recapture them. And the decades have been, the long time is required for us to regain those assets. We do need to come up with a new approach to deal with that issue. It may take decades to solve. Even if we go into the legal process, it may take more than 30 years. And even after that, maybe only part of that can be regained. To achieve security, the peace is prerequisite. That is what we discussed earlier. In order to achieve peace, we have to overcome the reasons for causes for violence or riots. And this topic needs to be discussed from international perspective. With enhanced solidarity, we can enjoy a better opportunity of solving those issues. Meaning, we have to link domestic issues and international issues. We have to respect international law from that perspective as well. We have responsibility to think about the future of our people. And we have to have a light of hope. And we have to come up with innovative ways. And in doing so, we have to base ourselves in the history and have a long perspective toward the future. And I thank you very much for your valuable input. And I'd like to congratulate all the stakeholders for the success of TICAD 8. We were able to come up with many of the consensus. And we were also able to share the future vision. It's my sincere hope that we can continue our path towards the future success. I would be appreciated if we can share the feeling with you.
Thank you. Thank you, Prince Said, for your really moving closing remarks. Now, I would like to invite the Prime Minister Kishida for his closing remarks. So, Prime Minister Kishida, the floor is yours.
ご列席の皆様。
Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, we have now come to the closing session of this two-day TICAD 8 meeting. Even though I participated online, we were able to discuss at length the future development of Africa through the participation of distinguished African heads of state and distinguished heads of international organizations, taking into account of the current international situation, and moreover, we confirmed our continued close cooperation. We are also pleased to have a large number of business representatives in attendance. Despite the continuing restrictions imposed by COVID-19, we were able to hold an in-person business forum and introduce various initiatives for the further development of African businesses. That demonstrates the high expectations for African growth. I hope that TICAD 8 has served as a venue for further private investment in Africa. Japan launched TICAD in 1993, and since then, we have been discussing the future of Africa together, addressing the various challenges we face and growing together. As the environment surrounding us changes rapidly, I would like to reiterate Japan's commitment to continuing to work with Africa as a partner, growing together with Africa, building on the achievements of our past cooperation to achieve a resilient and sustainable world. My announcement of a total of $30 billion as the sum of public and private financial contributions to Africa over the next 3 years is a testament to this. Now, following our 2 days of discussions, let us together adopt the TICAD 8 Tunis Declaration. Please give a round of applause if you support the declaration. Thank you very much. The TICAD 8 Tunis Declaration is hereby adopted. This document, compiled at this occasion, will serve as a guidepost for future Japan-Africa relations and sustainable growth in post-COVID-19 Africa. In particular, Japan places importance on boosting the vitality of the people who support Africa's future, creating a quality living environment where people can fully unleash their vitality, and maintaining peace and stability so that their livelihoods are not threatened. Japan will help realize sustainable development together with Africa with these approaches unique to Japan, focusing on people. Finally, to the co-organizers, to President Said, our host, and to President Sao as AU Chair, let me express my sincere gratitude and respect for leading TICAD 8 to success. I look forward to welcoming the African participants to Japan in 2025. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Prime Minister Kishida. Now I shall conclude TICAD 8. Thank you very much.
شكرا لكم على كل ما قمتم به. نختتم المؤتمر ولكن سنواصل الطريق في الاتجاه الصحيح.
Thank you, President. Thank you so much. Thank you very much.